Hey guys, it's Mather here once again with a quick update on the starters and how my league starter began for the Forbidden Sanctum League. It is obviously a roguelike league, and thus I tried to dress up as Zagreus from Hades. I had about 24 hours to put this thing together, and I was actually pretty pleased with the results. So cosplay, I think for once, not for once, but once in a rare time, every now and again, a kind of success in my opinion. We had then the league start where I tried to still pick something a bit hipster. I gave a couple of options in Smite and Shockwave Totems, and then I went for something that was still going to be a bit more questionable, and that is a Cobrelash and Venom Gyre poison base Trickster or Assassin starter. I ended up picking Trickster. I thought I'd do Assassin, but I justified Trickster in my mind instead. This is a build sort of style I tried a few years back that for a starter that was, I think, really good. It hasn't really held up too well in my opinion, so I did have a smooth enough start, and I ran every single Sanctum I could because I found them particularly fun personally. So I was getting mad amounts of over-leveled for the campaign. By the time I was like in, I don't know, level 50 zones, I was probably level 57 or 58, and I just thoroughly enjoyed running every Sanctum and trying out the mechanics and the new fights and all of that. It was tough and in many cases quite punishing and felt unfair, but I had a lot of fun, and I think it's, I don't know how much I could possibly defend it without being branded a shill or some shit, but it has felt really fun for me so far. There's a lot of negatives and downsides and stuff, but it doesn't take away from the fact that every single run you're just trying to do better and better, and you're just trying to progress and do the best with what you've got. And when I get particularly bad, like afflictions or whatever the fuck they're called, it's kind of funny, and you try and make do with the best of what you've got. And my character was not particularly strong throughout the process, so it was slowly ramping and getting better as I leveled and got more chaos passives and poison and all that. And the idea was to get into a Binos kitchen knife build, which recently got buffed, and then hopefully things got better. But the main goal was to play around with Vile Venom Gyre, and that, for what it is actually a pretty damn good skill. I think it was hard carrying my single target a lot of the time. Basically just pop Vile Venom Gyre, do a few whirling blades, and I was using it as a separate 4-link to my other skill, which was 4-link of Cobrelash. By the time I got Binos kitchen knife on, my DPS seemed adequate enough for the content I was doing, and once I entered T1 maps after completing the campaign, things did start to go pretty smooth. I don't really see much of a future in my build. Like, it's not going to progress too much further on the overall damage scale. I'll still keep going with it for another day, maybe two, something like that. But it's going to pretty much, I think, run out of steam by the time red maps happen, because my scaling just isn't really there. It doesn't seem to be capable of getting too much more DPS without, the sacrifice of some defense or life and all that, and I do have to still try and keep that somewhat balanced throughout the progression of the map system. I went into full Venom Gyre at some point, and it's working out okay. Like, the clear is nice, the pro lift from the Binos is nice, and it is adequate enough. It's not going to be a very good starter compared to other things, so I did give an option of Smite, which turns out was bugged on day one with better attack speed than it should have had. So anyone that picked Smite was having a great time for the first day of the league. It is now fixed, so the attack speed is not boosted anymore, but I think Smite is still in a decent enough spot as a starter. Still not the best choice compared to some other things, and Shockwave Totem have had pretty good reviews for so far. Astral Projector is of course very expensive and hard to come by, but once you get that into your build, things should go a bit smoother. And then of course it's just going to take a bunch of work and ramping before you can get it to a stage where my character last league was. Overall though, I think Totems should be a decent enough playstyle for the Sanctum. Melee probably got the shaft, but ideally, yep, you can still kind of get through just to do lots of like Helix style fight, stutter stepping around the boss. And yeah, except that you're playing a second class citizen worth of build. But this here was my attempt at the third floor boss when I had literally like 20 resolve left, so I knew I basically wasn't allowed to get hit and still had to kill the thing somehow. I knew it was over, gave it a shot anyway. It was kind of funny, but this boss is kind of nutty. So I got to the end of floor 3 twice now. It just depends on what kind of afflictions you get and how your run's going. Haven't had a terrific run so far, but to the end of floor 3 a couple of times. Still yet to see the floor 4. I've had quite a few people in my chat who have completed all the 4 floors. You know, it depends on whether or not you get a good run set up where it's going to be hard to lose, or if your build's particularly good as well at the same time. And from what I've heard from our community anyway, it's been a really fun league start. The mechanic is a lot of fun to engage with, whether it's rewarding or not. Still going to be up for debate, but I have seen and heard of people getting multiple divines here or there from the actual mechanic, like delayed loot system reward and all of that. For me personally, it's just been a blast exploring the new system and coming up with sort of a different way of playing against the fucking resolve system. Resolve? I don't know, whatever. System, and trying to not get hit and then just doing your best with what you've got. So yeah, not at all reward based focus for me, just getting in there. And personally, I've actually just been looking forward to the mechanic more than anything else per map. Jump in a map, want to do the next room, see how it's going, etc., etc. So I know me and my community have been loving it, and a lot of people on Twitch have been loving it. I don't know how the rest of the world is fully responding or really care too much. I know that there has been some negativity. I encourage you to enjoy it for what it is and make up your own mind. And if you sit around brooding and seething in the negativity that is out there, you'll feel worse about it as well. So with that said, let me just show you how my character is built so far, in case you're following along, and think you could learn something from my little meager attempt at a poison starter. So here's my current character, level 81, Zagreus Z DPS. I knew it wasn't going to be a huge DPS character, but I still expect it to take me kind of through the start and early mid-tier game. And it's done okay. Basically, it is carried by a Binos kitchen knife. It was 3 chaos on the end of day 1, so yoinked one of those, and it gets your poison build started. You do still need lots of scaling and min-maxing to really take it anywhere, but I'd expect it to get something like 1 to 2 million DPS, if possible, to, you know, keep finalizing the DPS. Still not going to be anything massive, but Venom Gyre is basically the cornerstone of the build. I wanted to do Val Venom Gyre and try it out, and it's been good healthy fun. The idea was to go with one skill and then just have Val Venom Gyre on a proper 4-link, but at this stage I think I'm pretty much full Venom Gyre action, because it just feels a bit better overall. So I've gotten a bit of a pierce for the build, and I should realistically get that somewhere else, like on gloves and hat, but currently I've had to spec it, and I ended up choosing Trickster, and I thought I'd be Assassin, but the Trickster package for attack speed especially is pretty damn handy, so I decided to do the extra more damage here, and then the attack speed and the frenzies, and it's pretty competitive with the assassin thing, because if I went assassin I would have then had to go on more crit heavy, and that spreads my passive tree a bit more thin. I'm about to pick up another curse, currently using despair, then I'll use temp chains as well. Not quite sure how I'm going to set that up yet though, but otherwise a few dagger nodes, nothing too special, and then all the chaos stuff that I could pretty much get, and trying to get different masteries to make polymath stronger and stronger. The links at the moment are Venom Gyre, GMP, Void Manipulation, Unbound Ailments, and Vicious Proj. And then for Cobra Lash over here is Cobra Lash, Unbound Ailments, Cruelty, and Void Manip. But basically it's just a 1-for-1 replacement. This is how the setup was going, just using Cobra Lash, and then just using Val Venom Gyre as a separate pseudo 5-link with these gloves. So it's still doable that way, but I think Venom Gyre is doing a bit better than Cobralash. I'll still test things out as I go. Otherwise, gear is just, is what it is. Some resists and life and not a whole lot going on just yet. So pretty basic setup. Chill immune boots, bought for like a few chaos. Just basic shit out there that you can buy for very cheap to get your character started, and it's complete starter level of trash. Herald of Agony, Plague Bearer, Malevolence, and Precision at the moment. Will possibly fit in maybe Skitterbots, maybe Grace. I'll see what I can do with the limited stuff I've got. And with a totem setup over there. And yeah, very basic, small character. If I wanted this to go larger, I probably would be playing something like Poisonous Concoction instead. I think that scales a lot better. But for now, I think Venom Gyre is going to be okay for my tier of maps. As soon as I feel like it's going to be running out of steam, I'll probably start thinking about a second character. But hopefully this can at least take me to around level 90 and like mid-tier yellows to reds, because I've done like 1 or 2 tier 6s I think, and it's okay. Like I can clear those and it's not the worst, but I don't feel great about my progression at the moment. Does feel like it's a bit lackluster. Early poison starts without real gear and real proper scaling, but the Binos are doing as much as it can, and still feel like it could be doing more. We'll see where it goes. So that's the character so far. Hope you guys enjoyed the little video and hope you are loving the Sanctum as much as I am, but I know not everyone will be. Yeah, just a bunch of difficult challenge, bit of RNG, and sometimes some reward. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time.